Hi everyone, coming on just to do a correction on one of my videos where I said that 10/7, the 7th day of the 10th month on God's calendar, was the Feast of Tabernacles. So that is why we always say to you guys, take everything to Christ for confirmation, that He can, walk you through what He needs you to see also, because we as humans, we are capable of making mistakes. We are not 100% correct. So please keep that always in mind. So I'm just going to show you as the Lord led me this week back to the calendar and also to scripture. As we can read in Leviticus 23 verse 33, the Feast of Tabernacles. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles, for 7 days to the Lord. So again, the 15th day. So as we go back to the calendar that we have, we know that Miss Return to Eden was shown by the Lord that the moon cycle was forward with 48 hours from day of crucifixion, that would have been the 15th of the 8th month, to the 17th of the 8th month. And in Leviticus 23, it states that you must count 7 Sabbaths. So you start counting from, you have the Feast of the Unleavened Bread, and then you start counting, you have the start of the unleavened bread for 7 days, and then you've got the Sabbath, and then you start counting the day after the Sabbath, 50 days on. So if we look at that calendar and where the Lord showed her that the moon cycle forwarded with 48 hours, it will bring us to the 17th of the 8th month. So counting 7 days from there on, because that's when the first day of the unleavened bread was. Counting then 7 days will bring us to 22, the 22, 23, evening to evening. And then you start counting, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, the Sabbath would have forwarded then between the 23rd and the 24th. So start counting then from evening to evening as the first day, counting 50 days from there on will bring us then, to the evening of the 14th of the 10th month, that evening, to the 15th of the 10th month, that evening would be the 50th day. So that would be the true Feast of Tabernacles / harvest. That would also be the 8th day, this when circumcision happens. And if you can remember in Mandy's messages that Jesus gave her, he said 15, my completion day. And then again, the first day of the 10th month on God's calendar was the Feast of Trumpets. And then the 10th day of the 10th month on God's calendar was the Day of Atonement. And then 5 days from there on brings us to the Feast of Tabernacles, which will be the 15th day of the 10th month on God's calendar. So if you go and read Leviticus, it lines perfectly up with the first day being the Feast of Tabernacles, the 10th day, the Day of Atonement, and then 5 days from the Day of Atonement lands on 15th, the 15th day of the 10th month, to be the Feast of Tabernacles. Then you start the Day of Tabernacles, 7 days, which brings us to the 22nd day of the 10th month on God's calendar. That will be then the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. So I wanted to just to bring that to you guys and to correct my mistake that I've done, that you also can see that 10/7 was not actually the Feast of Tabernacles. But then I want to also just share with you guys some interesting information. I saw in Esther 2 verse 16 that Esther was taken to the king in the 10th month, and we are now currently in the 10th month on God's calendar. So Esther was taken in the 10th month to the king. And Esther was from Susa, meaning Suzanne. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but in Hebrew origin and short form of Susanna, meaning lily. And I saw that lilies represents rebirth and hope. And I also went and Googled, how long does lilies bloom? And I saw they need a cool winter dormancy period of at least 8 weeks in order to reinitiate the flowering cycle. And then lilies have a phase life of around 10 to 14 days. So I counted from 8:1. Interesting that I saw that from 8:1 to 10:15. So the first day of the 8th month on God's calendar to the 15th day of the 10th month on God's calendar would be exactly 8 weeks and 14 days. And if you can remember that Mandy had a word from Jesus asking, how long does it take flowers to bloom? Or has the flowers bloomed yet? How long does flowers bloom? So that is interesting, that Esther was taken to the king in the 10th month. And then also she's coming from Susa, meaning lily. And lilies bloom for 8 weeks, and the lifespan is 10 to 14 days. So I just found that interesting, and I wanted to share with you guys. And if you can also remember, 8:1 is when the star alignments flipped also. And on man's calendar, it was the 19th of April. But if you counted it from the 25th of September 2022, when the Lord showed me his return to Eden, when the new year started, it brought us actually to the 26th of July, which would have brought us to, the dream that I have of 207 days that brought us exactly to the 26th of July. So from 8:1 to 10:15 would be 8 weeks and 14 days, the same period as the lily blooms, and also the lifespan of the lily. So I just wanted to bring that to you. I hope that you also see what we see all about this information. And I just wanted to come on to correct my mistake that I made. The Galilean wedding was then on the 7th day of the 10th month, where Jesus performed his first miracle. It was the day of Pentecost and Shivat, and when Jesus' true birth was. So, and then 8 days from there was now the day of circumcision. And interesting, in John 7, I think, John 7 or 8, if I'm not mistaken, Jesus is speaking on the Feast of Tabernacles about circumcision. So again, guys, take everything to Christ for confirmation for yourself. I hope that you have a blessed day till the next video. Bye bye, guys.